Hi everyone, my name is Lisa, and today I'd like to tell you about intentional multilingualism. I live in Siberia and I'm raising a multilingual child. Her name is Olya, and we learn here 14 languages. So here we are, and it all started from her birth. But that time I didn't know how to start, what to do, because I didn't find any information about intentional multilingualism. Intentional means not natural. So we intend to learn many languages on our own, including teachers and friends, but not relatives and not society, because we live in a monolingual country. We live in a little Siberian town. And everyone here speaks only Russian. Let me show you my approach. My approach includes complex method. So for each language, I choose one character, usually the cartoon character, or maybe book character, and even some toys. For example, as you can see here, La Pimpa, and in our house she speaks Italian and she's responsible for Italian, this little dog. So we watch cartoons, then we read books usually based on the episodes we have watched. Also, if it's possible, I buy some toys and we listen a lot. I totally recommend to listen to cartoons, not only songs and audiobooks. For example, if we watch Pimpa, then we listen, and every time it's like this. And of course, playing. Italian is not our strongest language, so let me show you our video how we play in Italian. Che cos'è? Che cos'è, Olya?
È un gelato.
Sì, un gelato. Un gelato arancione.
Sì.
Davvero? E che? Pimpa, che abbiamo nel forno?
Una torta.
Una torta? Oh! Dove è la torta?
Qui.
Ah, eccola. Mm-hmm.
Una grande.
Oh, molto grande.
Sì.
Sì. Che cosa facciamo adesso?
Mangiamo tutto il gelato.
Oh, davvero? Che bello. Gnam, 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 gnam. Oh, frio, è frio. No, freddo, è freddo.
Frio e come?
Come uscito parla. Mm-hmm. So, I mixed languages in the previous video, but it was funny that Olya asked me who speaks like frio, and for each language she has a character. So Spanish is like Osito talks. Osito, it's her teddy bear, and obviously Italian is like Pimpa talks. As I have told you, Italian isn't our strongest language, but we started learning it after Olya already was fluent in Spanish and almost fluent in French, and she knew some Portuguese. So 3 Romanic languages in a row, and of course Italian wasn't so difficult to learn. But of course, sometimes she mixes il, elle, and some other words. And speaking about weak languages, I'd like to show you one approach how to learn and teach your child if you're not fluent. So, for example, let's take Hungarian. I spent 1 year and I achieved A1 level, so not really good. It's a super hard language for me, and But after visiting Hungary, Budapest, Olya really wanted to learn it. Well, she was 2 years old. She didn't tell me, Mommy, let's learn Hungarian. Of course not. But she picked up some words and she was curious about them. She repeated, and I was thinking, come on, really? We're learning Hungarian. And I bought some books, chose a cartoon, Pocoyo, and mostly Pocoyo taught Olya Hungarian. However, then I found a teacher, and with a teacher, even online, usually we have half an hour per week for our languages, and that's still enough to make some progress. Also, my advice is to pick one topic and be fluent only in one topic. For instance, I've learned all food names, and I learned one case in Hungarian, but I knew it perfectly. So I suggested Olya to make picnics, and I used Hungarian only in that situation. So when Olya was an infant, I used more languages on daily basis. So I was talking to her all day. So anything about doing the dishes and all the stuff, it's impossible to learn in all the languages. So I suggest to play. Right now, our language in family is English. So in every situation we speak English and we play in all weak and strong languages. Now let me show you how we played in Hungarian.
Izule.
Egy béka.
Béka. Mit csinál a béka?
Ugrálj.
Ugrál.
Építsünk egy házat.
Igen. Hol van a ház? A háza? Itt van. Mi ez, Olya?
Jön egy ház.
Vögyerház, igen.
Itt van a ház.
Itt van a ház. Igen.
Nem. Itt van a ház.
Vögyerház. A házikó.
Técsik.
Mi?
Técsik.
Ügyes.
I'd like to confess that in this video, I don't know some words Olya used. So Olya's Hungarian level is much better than mine. She understands much better, and she sometimes she listens and she can repeat, and I can't. The other day we were watching Bing. It's another cartoon in Hungarian. And I heard one word and I wanted to ask Olya what was that. So I asked, Olya, ludni, what does it mean? And she was thinking for a moment and she said, sleep. I googled and it was aludni, so I mispronounced, but she was right. It was sleep. So she can translate and she understands really good for her age. So I think she can watch and read anything that Hungarian kids do at 4 years. Olya now is 4.5. And we keep learning Hungarian for 2 years. It's quite difficult and challenging. Also, it has long and short vowels, which I don't get, but Olya gets, and she pronounces correctly. So when she was smaller, about like 2.5, she corrected me all the time because she heard I mispronounced and she tried to teach me. It was really funny, but sometimes I could repeat after her. So that's the point of learning so early in so many languages, because children can keep up this pronunciation and they don't need to be taught. So they listen and repeat. That's all. Nevertheless, with weak languages and even with strong languages, we ask help with teachers. So sometimes, if I can afford, we have many teachers at a time. For example, like 5 teachers a week. Online is always half an hour, as I have said, and if it's offline, it's great, but not usual. So let me show you a piece of Hungarian online lesson where Olya was super excited.
Itt van.
Hol? Én nem találom sehol sem
Itt
ezt a
van. Itt
vízcseppet.
van.
Vízcsepp.
Itt van.
Hol? Vízcsepp. Hol vagy vízcsepp?
Itt van.
De én nem látom. Vízcsepp.
So here Olya was looking for this chip. It's a funny toy of our teacher uses it, and she showed somewhere in the screen, and Olya was looking, and as you can see, she was super excited, and it was super funny for her. Sometimes we feed these little creatures, little monsters. So it's of course not anyone can be a toddler foreign language teacher, right? Of course, it's challenging to find a good one. But in my experience, if you really want to do that, it's possible. Online, this girl, this is my friend, Heni, and I found her not as a teacher. I found her on Tandem. It's an application, and we just became friends, and I asked her to help Olya with Hungarian. Sometimes I pay for lessons, like using other applications. I will remember and I will tell you later. If you really need them, ask me in the questions, please. So italki for sure, yeah. And usually if you need to find an offline teacher, I just ask regular teachers if they can work with children. Usually they don't. And the smaller a child is, there more often they refuse. It was really difficult to find a teacher for Olya when she was less than a year. But still, it's possible. And now I'd like to show you our French teacher. She's a Russian lady. She's a French teacher, obviously. And she's visiting us every week. She has been visited us since almost 10 months. So almost 4 years, 1 or twice a week for 1 hour and a half. And mostly only Oksana teaches Olya French because I spend more time teaching Olya other languages, and Olya watches cartoons. We read books. I mean, I read to her, and she plays a lot with Oksana. And although we have cartoons and we have characters that she likes really much, like Trotro and Chupi, but still Olya is really attached to Oksana, so French is like Oksana talks. You know, concept of name languages is still a little bit difficult to Olya. So when she was 1 or 1.5, she created this system to distinguish languages. So English was like mommy talks, because I always speak English with her. Russian is like daddy talks, although all relatives speak Russian. And right now, French is like Oksana talks. And let me show you how she speaks ordinary French. and a little later I'll explain what does it mean.
Et avec qui tu vas jouer?
Avec lui, hey, ça c'est une petite fille, et avec sa maman, et avec son papa. Beaucoup de fruits.
Oui, quel fruit?
2 bananes, 2 pommes, une orange et 2 tasses.
Mhm. Et qu'est-ce que tu aimes boire, Olya?
Le
Oui, c'est ça, d'accord. Et le numéro 5?
nous va à dessiner et Oksana va à laver.
Ah, se laver les mains. D'accord. Et où tu veux peindre, faire de la peinture?
Dans la cuisine, je vais jouer dans le balcon et dans le salon, je vais mirer.
D'accord. Bonne journée.
Bonne journée.
Salut.
So this was regular French, and I mean, in the next video she will fool around and she will speak like a baby, maybe, or like she imagines a French baby speaks. So you will see the difference, and now you know it's only for fun.
Vous êtes notre professeur.
Non, je suis l'ami de professeur. L'ami de professeur.
L'ami du professeur. Ah, l'ami.
Qu'est-ce-
L'ami du professeur.
Oui.
Du prof. Mais la leçon, oui, a commencé, oui. C'est notre professeur.
Petite. Ça, c'est le professeur dit. Petite,
Oui.
tu vas écrire, jouer quelque chose dehors, manger et tu vas dormir à l'école sans maman. Moi, l'ami des professeurs, je sais que ta maman a un petit chocolat.
Oui, tu as raison, l'ami du professeur, oui. Oui, ma mère.
So this was Oksana, and we're really lucky to have her. And it was quite difficult. As I told you many times, it's difficult to find teachers for toddlers, but still for every language I was looking, I found. So even for Mongolian and for Tatar, well, for Tatar it's not so difficult because it's inside Russia and we have many speakers, but still online, and almost nobody learns it as foreign language. So still it's possible, and choosing even with these pandemic issues, still, of course, offline lessons are much better because they can play on their own, and that's the most important, because usually when Oksana comes to our house, I work in another room, and by the way, I have a part-time job, if you're curious. So I think with a full-time job, it's impossible to keep up all these languages. So you need to have time, you need to have energy and mood to do that, because if you're always tired, and of course you wouldn't want to teach your child something fun if you don't have energy. And speaking of Russia, this is our family. This is two Olya's grandmas, and on the right, this is great grandma. And sometimes we joke that she speaks her own language, village language, so we can add one more language to Olya's list. Well, just kidding. So I never speak Russian to Olya, because all her family already speaks Russian, and we all these years we live in Russia, and there's no problem to and that's what I wanted to say. We don't need cartoons, of course, and we don't need funny books or anything. So she just talks and plays with her relatives, and let me show how.
Да, чтобы я сидела наверху, не как коротко. Я забыла, что надо делать вот так. А я сделаю умывальник.
Давай, делаем умывальник.
Надо 2 кубика здесь. И вот и умывальник.
Угу.
Еще надо сделать мой стул. Придумала.
А на чем у нас деда с бабой в деревне ездят? На чем в деревню ездят?
На дединой машине.
Вот на этой, да?
И вот здесь она стоит вот так вот. Теперь сделаем.
Расскажи, кто где сидит в машине.
Деда и баба.
Где деда сидит, когда ездит?
Сидит здесь,
Угу.
а баба здесь.
Мгм.
Я здесь, папа здесь. И мама прямо здесь.
Угу.
Едут. Приехали.
So, of course, she's fluent in Russian and she likes speaking Russian, but with me, she never tends to speak it, and she always, in every situation, switches to English. For example, we had an emergency. She had a really bad allergic reaction, and we called the ambulance. So she was a nice Russian girl for 2 minutes, but then she needed to have a injection, and she was yelling at me and crying and saying, "It's hurting," and then she switched to English only. So I think, personally, from my experience, English is her first language, because she talks in her sleep, and if she has the possibility to switch to English with anyone, she will. Let me show. This is our, we played doctors, and Olya made up this diagnosis.
Who is our next patient, Olya?
It's a hedgehog.
You make. The hedgehog can't talk. What happened?
I think it has a diagnosis about he was in the forest and then a mouse came on the head, went to the mouth.
Oh my God! Really? How it happened? Show us. Where is that little mouse?
Here.
Okay. How can you help him?
We need first a spoon.
Okay. Here's your spoon.
And then he should make a
Mm-hmm.
Then the mouse will fall on the spoon and then to the water.
Okay. Bloops. Oh, thank you.
The mouse is here, watch.
Yeah, I can see.
Now to the water.
Okay, very good. And what will hedgehog tell you now?
Now he'll tell things.
Thanks. Hello, Olya.
Kelly.
Thanks, Helly. And what shall he do now?
Now he should lay down and then he'll sleep and then he'll get up and he'll go home.
And he will have some rest, right?
So I was asking Olya if she's Olya or Helly, because look at her glasses. She was Helly. It's a cartoon character from Doc McStuffins. This is one of her favorite English cartoons, and I gotta admit, she doesn't watch a lot with me in English. Usually, if she asks, we watch Swedish, Hungarian, Greek, and other languages. But with her dad, she usually watches English cartoons, and I think Olya's English is such advanced because her dad understands. He perfectly understands English, and that's why she can feel comfortable speaking with me. Of course, she talks with her daddy only in Russian, but still she knows that he understands, and that's fine. So it feels comfortable. And of course, it's much easier to find an English teacher, English material, cartoons, books, everything. It played a big role in our in raising a multilingual child. So if another language would be more popular, so it would be easier. But only with English, you have so many opportunities. So as you have seen, English and Russian are her native languages, but also she loves very, very much Greek language. We visited a few times Greece before the pandemic, of course. And but Olya loves her past, so she loves rewatching, rereading, and remembering that she had before. And during 2 years, she asks me almost every day where we will go to Crete or where we will go to the sea. So she desperately wants to come back. And after our last visit in Crete, her Greek became almost fluent, and she loves speaking it. Let me show how we play.
Yasas. Ne, che... Aha, εντάξει. Τώρα μόνο ένα σπιτάκι.
Σπιτάκι με παιχνίδια. Αυτό είναι το δωματίο της σχολής.
Πάρα πολύ ωραία.
Με τον μπαμπά.
Οκ.
Μπεν, αυτό είναι ο ρομπότ μου.
Οχο! Και τι μπορεί να κάνει, πώς μπορεί να μιλάει.
Έτσι, κοίτα. Μπορεί να δουλεύει. Να κάνουμε το να δουλεύει. Γεια σας, είμαι ρομπότ.
Δείξε μας. Γεια σας, είμαι ρομπότ.
Είμαι πάρα πολύ όμορφο και εγώ είμαι κορίτσι.
So we played with Ben and Holly. Originally, it's a British cartoon, and it has the same drawing like Peppa. Peppa is also in Greek, and she loves Peppa. Nobody loves Peppa more than Olya. And she always wants to play with them because, and she always wants to speak Greek with me because I'm the only speaker here, and she knows that. So usually when she was smaller, I suggested her, let's play in Spanish. Well, I didn't say in English. Let's say I would say vamos a jugar en español or something like that. Or if it's in Greek, Thamilissimo Ellenika on Anthelis. And usually she agreed, but now she insists on playing in some languages depending on her mood. Also, I would like to give advice. So there is an opinion every cartoon should be authentic. So, for example, if Peppa was created in British, so we should watch only in British. Or, for example, there is any Mongolian cartoon, so we should watch this. I disagree. In my experience, it doesn't matter. So if you have a good cartoon like Peppa, because Peppa actually is educational cartoon and it teaches a lot of vocabulary and in very entertaining form, so kids love it. Or Pocoyo, because it's also educational cartoon. So, for example, Pocoyo is originally Spanish and English. It was production of these countries, and Peppa, of course, British, as I already said. But still, there are no educational cartoons in Greek. So what to do with real languages? It's nice to have an authentic material in popular languages. Of course, nobody needs a translated cartoon in French. So we watch Le Petit Nicolas, Trotro, Choupi. And in English, she watches Llama Llama on Netflix and Doc McStuffins, for example. But when we talk about much more rare languages, nothing to do. So I choose the best what we have. So Pokoyo in Hungarian, and of course it's not the same. Sometimes they never translate songs, and Olya listens to English version. Of course she understands English, but she's confused by English. But it's not the point. So if you have, you know a cartoon, or you can Google it up, or I post on my Instagram many cartoons that Olya loves. So if you see that it has many versions, you can pick any language that you like. So on Netflix, for example, now there are many versions. Right now she likes Hungarian Csillag Sugar, and she watches with great pleasure, and it's translated, of course. So I don't see a problem. Now let me show you Olya's Spanish, and it's also one of the strongest languages. I'm a Spanish teacher, and I've been teaching it for many years, and I love Spanish. But we had a big break in Spanish for about I don't know, like 6 months without any Spanish but cartoons. And then I see some questions. Yes, and then she refused to speak Spanish, but not to play. I just asked one question in Spanish, like, ¿Cómo te llamas? And it was only to ask her that, and she said, no talk in español. But if I would suggest her to play and I would take her toys, of course she would agree. So then after that break, it was last year, we started to play a lot in Spanish, and now she can speak super fast and super correct. Let's see.
Vamos a la duchita.
Y Cira toma y pone aquí. Pone aquí en la bañera.
¡Tada!
¡Tada!
¿Estás preparada? Ahora hay que bañarse.
Sí. Ahora el conejito puede bañarse. Y tiene 2 juguetitos para jugar en la bañera.
Vamos a hacer el agüita.
Sí. Vamos a añadir más agua.
Oh, es mucha agüita.
Sí.
Y ahora puede jugar. Plach, pluch, plach.
Qué bien.
Todo está bien. Plitch, plach, pluch. ¿Le gusta ahora?
Sí, le gusta
Plach,
mucho.
pluch, plitch.
Okay, let's skip a little bit. And this is also in Spanish, and it's really funny.
Tiene el volante también para
Conducir.
eso.
Oh,
Llueve, está lloviendo ahora.
hay que hacer para mi bebé.
Sí. Hay un techo pequeño.
Ma, yo tengo las botas, no necesito techo.
Uy, muestra por favor las botas muy largas. ¿Dónde están? ¿Y tacones? Muy altos tacones, aquí están. Sí, muy bonitas.
Uy. ¿Pero qué haces, mamá? ¿Qué hiciste? ¡Adiós! Uy.
Oh, it was super funny. I dropped some of her stuff and she got super angry and she refused to shoot a video. As you already asked many times, no, right now she never refuses. And she never refused, actually. She refused one time when we were in a car and I wanted to shoot a video in a village and I needed only to ask her name. So I checked if she remembers it and she was and she said no talking Espanol because it wasn't natural. So if I would take toys and suggested her to play, she wouldn't refuse, and she never refuses. So let's see
Tiene el
how we.
volante también
Oh,
para...
sorry. Let's talk about Swedish really fast. I suggest board games for kids 3+. It's an easy and fun way to learn.
Ei,
Hey,
vem med det, Olya.
babush.
Babush. Vad ska vi spela?
Bamse.
Bamse. Vi har 2 terminerna.
Up, up, up.
Okej, det är din tur.
Oh, vargen grön.
Vargen grön.
Jaha.
Du har?
Okej. Det är babushens tur.
Okej, babushens tur.
Ska man göra? Jag har en.
Jag har en. Okej. Salman gul.
Babush har inte.
Okej. Det är din tur.
Nej, din.
Okej. Ge mig. Okej, tack. Titta. Rätt!
Okay. And let's see Chinese.
Чи пинго.
Toi.
Вот чи сигла.
Toi.
Баба. Чи чонзы.
Toi.
Вот. Чуэй.
Toi! Fecha Olya.
Someone asked about reading. Well, she's 4, and I don't really see the point to start really early. She can read some words in Russian, well, many words in Russian, and we started reading in Greek and in Chinese. So in Greek this year, and in Chinese like about 2 years ago, but only a few characters. So here I wrote 4 sentences for her, and the sentence is about Daddy says Daddy eats a worm. That's why she laughed a lot. And let me show you our Instagrams. Yes, and now let's answer the questions, and I will tell about Spanish as well. So the first question: multilingual kids can struggle with reading and writing as they're used to speaking only. Since Olya's multilingualism is intentional, do you plan to teach her to read, write in all her languages? So I think Olya will read in some languages. Of course, I didn't have time to answer about balance. So right now I try to keep up 4 languages: English, Russian, Spanish, and Greek. They all pretty much the same and advanced level, and she will read in them for sure. Well, I think kids, toddlers should speak only and not read. So when she will grow up a little bit, then we will start with other activities. And next question. Again, does Olya sometimes refuse to speak a certain language? No, she doesn't. Do you happen to have a text list collection of kids' cartoons in different languages other than your Instagram? Well, right now I don't have such a list, but I will do, and it probably will be only on my Instagram. Sorry. So yeah, but you can message me directly on the platform, and I will try to help you. So next question: do you plan to homeschool Olya if it's possible in Russia? If not, how do you think she'll keep up with all her languages? Well, homeschooling is possible in Russia, but we're going to move. I don't know when, but soon. And hopefully Olya will go to another language school, I mean not a Russian school, so we will see when and how it will be. Right now, I'm not planning to homeschool. I think, well, she's super communicative, and she loves talking and she loves playing, so she needs society much more than only being home. Next question. How conscious Olya is about the fact those are different codes? How she reacts when someone doesn't understand her? Well, she knows quite a long time that these are different languages, and she knows that some people never understand, like her relatives. When she was little, for example, she mixed languages, and they told her, "I don't understand you saying Russian," and she tried to explain herself. The funniest moment was with a Chinese girl, because Olya isn't fluent in Chinese, and that little girl spoke only Chinese, so she didn't understand English, and it was super strange to Olya that someone doesn't understand English, because for her it's obviously lingua franca, because her teachers, for example, her German teacher, her French teacher, her Hungarian teacher, if she says in English, they understand. And she got used to this opinion that everyone can understand English. But right now, she knows perfectly. And I think since her 3 years, she knows very well who speaks which language. Next question. At which moment you would stop adding new languages? Do you think there is a limit of perception of a child? Very nice question. I don't know, because when we studied with 3 languages plus Russian. Then I added Greek, and then some more. Then I added all the languages I have learned. So because without fresh start, so I wanted to teach her only if I'm at least a little bit sure at what I'm talking about. I don't think there is a limit. I think there is limit in time. I think there is limit in money, because you spend money on books, you spend money on toys, you pay for Netflix, and a lot of stuff. But in perception, no. And right now I'm planning to do research and to prove that multilingualism affects positively cognitive skills of a child, and it's only positive effect. Next question. Which languages do you speak, and what made you decide to raise Olya to where you do? I speak all these languages that were listed. So I'm fluent in English, French, and Spanish. These are my working languages. I translate and I interpret, but more about 5 languages like Italian, Swedish, German, more some. I speak them, but not as fluent. And for example, Mongolian and Tatar, I don't speak at all. We just had some teachers and we had a few lessons, because I assume that a language is a tool. It's not a name. Our aim isn't to speak 15 languages. Our aim, my aim right now, is to raise a child who is able to learn new stuff, to remember better, to analyze better. And that's what's happening. I didn't organize my talk quite well, so I wanted to tell you that multilingualism affects memory, also retelling, translation skills, spatial orientation. So, for example, for an ordinary 3 years old, if you give them a map, they won't get, because usually children are not ready at this stage. But Olya understands. So if I show her like a treasure hunt, she will find, and she found I made for her Christmas quest in their apartment. And I was a polyglot, and I always wanted to raise a multilingual child. I just didn't know how, and in my experience, I found this approach. Thank you for attention.